Welcome back to the channel. All right, it's time to cover everything you need to know that's important from the Kabam live stream here on Halloween, October 31st. How could I even have to look at a calendar for that? All right, we're going to get through this. I'm going to try to editorialize as little as possible. If there's something that really I think needs it or whatever, I'll get a video out. It'll probably come out this weekend. They started off with talking about, like, they ended the balance program, the post that they made. I made my video on that. My biggest issue is I just don't trust the current team at all at Kabam. Otherwise, I agree with some of the stuff they said. It's like they're going back to the old system. And we were talking about that on my Discord server where I actually kind of liked the old system. There was a few kind of oddities like the nerf of Namor and stuff, but it felt like it felt like a better time. Maybe that's a bit of nostalgia coming in, but they did say that, like, this is still they will buff champions. Unfortunately, a lot of the ones they mentioned are ones that then end up getting sold and things like that. But the fact is they did address champions will still get buffed, and just as a small amount of editorializing, I did feel like Mike did a really nice job of addressing concerns, of not belittling people who have concerns, and being actually what sounded like very, very honest. I do think that is important to put out. I actually made a note. I think he handled this very, very well. They also are going to take the time to explore better options that will work for Kabam and players. Time will tell if that ends up being accurate and true. And then it sounds like they have literally no plans to nerf like Nico Minoru, and champions like that, who were the attribute system in them just make no sense together. But they flat out said that, the champion that comes to the game just is the champion. Given the things that's happened, I will say again, playing this game for as long as I have, if I have to choose between the rebalance system that we had and going back to the old days, I go back to the old days on this. You just either liked the champion or you didn't, and some were going to fall flat, and that is what it is. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next one should be the Incursions event. If you have not seen my video on this, I know a lot of people were helped out by this significantly, people in my alliance as well. This can be really fun. My biggest advice on this, if you haven't done it yet, is if you get stuck in like rooms 1 through 8 or something like that, just start over, because you can power up the symbiote really, really well. Of course, RNG can still get you in the very end. Watch my guide on it, and one of the most common questions even on that was, yes, the pre-fights you select for the symbiote actually stay throughout the incursions. He becomes insanely powerful. So check that out. Really good rewards for it. If I can get my Vega Prime account up to Paragon in time, I will actually be doing it on that account as well. Next is that there is a Battleground store update. Again, like I actually really thought up until the end, this stream was great. The stream was great. And Karate Mike actually said this BG store update, and he's like, it's minor. He's not overhyping it, he's not overselling it. Excited about the game. He should be. That's his job. That's good. But like, this is minor in comparison to the Radiant store, but they are doing it. So if you have a lot of BG stuff coming along your way, maybe just keep this in mind. It doesn't sound like it's gonna like make this massive difference, but hey, small updates to these stores while doing things for Radiant sounds good to me. I like it, and I was happy with the like kind of the transparency there on that. That was really, really good. The next thing will be, let's see here, the big thing, the Alliance War format will be returning for the holiday season. Again, I think this is a big W. 1 fight per summoner. My alliance takes war pretty seriously. We're Platinum 3. We don't do any play anything like this, and I think it will be appreciated as we head into that holiday time where it's really, really busy. And so you can see that'll be back from December 17th through January 14th. And now moving on to the next one here. Cool. We got the Alliance War Showcase. This will be starting on November 7th. This is basically where there's like fights that I think they've even moved away from the idea of like it perfectly mirrors tier 1, because not a lot. There were some tier 1 players who were getting very upset and like making some kind of pretty strong comments, I think, in various chats about how it didn't really reflect their. I don't think it's meant to truly reflect exactly what the hardest tier 1 fights are. Give a flavor, give an idea, have it be fun. There's some pretty good rewards. If I'm able to stream it, of course, I will. And then there's another thing on November 7th coming here. Let's go and get to, no, I skipped ahead. I apologize. Let's get to it right now. Here it is. The Saga Champion Showcase. Again, I think Mike mentioned that the tier 7 basic, that might be a small misprint. Again, those things happen. This was a small one, a little one, no big deal. So that might be better. If it's not, he may just misspoke. He's doing his best. So let's save our critiques for when it's warranted. This would not be a place, but this is a nice place to go and use your Cosmic Science Attackers. Also goes live on November 7th, and you can kind of go from there. Again, if I'm available to stream, I will. And then, of course, the Founders War Incursions is another like unique themed incursions format here. This one's only going through 15, does not involve the summon symbiote, that sort of thing. And you can see the rewards there. And then I'm going to take this moment to say, and again, this is part of what I really did like about this portion of the stream was that Mike said, so I think there was a comment and it was like, hey, this is so much coming on the same day. And this does happen a lot. Now, this isn't till this incursion until December 3rd. Keep that in mind. But a lot of stuff on like November 7th. And that does happen a lot. And I appreciate that Mike said, like, hey, one of the biggest things we can do in this game, being a veteran, is like, sure, if you want to blitz everything you can, but that is going to add to the stress. It is going to add to the higher resource use, right? So you're not going to be as fresh. You're not going to plan and that sort of thing. Space it out. Space it out. The game, I think, honestly, in my opinion, the less stress I put on myself on those sorts of things, the more I am able to enjoy what is put forth. So I thought that was really good advice, and I wanted to echo it there. Moving on to the next one, I thought we were getting like a full-on new mode, and that might be my fault, my misunderstanding, okay? But they were very clear. This is actually a new side quest that's a new mode format. I don't want to look too much into what was said and not said because I think they were very clear. But it was that like if this does well, maybe we'll see this more. So it sounds like they're testing things a little bit. I will say they showed a clip of it. It looks significantly more polished and ready to go than like the browser game we got and those sorts of things. There's going to be a timed attack style and gameplay. No revives, no potions. If you don't make it, if you don't do it in time, or your character gets KO'd, you just get to try again. So that sounded actually pretty cool. I actually am hopeful. I will put it on my calendar to try to be available to stream this because I do think this actually looks like it possibly could be really, really fun. I am a hopeful that Kabam can put out some new sort of like PvE, meaning non-player versus player content for people. Unfortunately, this didn't involve synergies at all, but I want to take what's presented and see if maybe it can be really good. The next one is going to be the side quest Deadpool Rift style. This is not going live till December 30th. It was called out that like because of the Battle and Brawl Summoners Fest and the next actual live stream, they are announcing a few things a little bit early. This isn't coming out till December 3rd, but you can see that there. Now we're going to get into the new champions. And I will say they both look crazy cool. If you could let me know in the chat if you're interested in me doing like a bit of not just like a pure reaction, but actually like a bit of an analysis of the deep dives. Don't worry, I wouldn't just watch them with you. That's not what I would do. I would watch them and then see a few things, point them out where I think these champions might be good, what I'm excited about, what I'm concerned about. If you're interested in seeing that and having that go live like Sunday afternoon or Monday morning, let me know because I've considered doing that sort of thing. This is Paviter, and he looks really cool. He looks really cool. And of course, in the kind of style of what Kabam's doing in a way to give the champions relevance and of course sell them, right? But it is what it is. He's going to have like this marked passive. They didn't say the specific number, so I'm excited to see the deep dives on this, but we'll get strong enough to, it sounds like, actually guaranteed knockout. Serpent, the champion designer even called out that like Paviter has his large SP2 and that if the large SP2, it's a bit of a cash out. If it does not KO Serpent or champions that need this mark passive, it actually might be a good thing for you because you're giving it more time to kind of grow stronger. Remember, some of these immortalities have like 120% chance, 125% chance. He's going to place his spider seal buffs. He's going to neutralize opponents when they throw their special. So I do think that is really, really cool. I think it's another like way of doing something similar with neutralize. They called this out. They talked about it. It honestly sounds really cool. He's in the double track. As you can see, I'm not spending, so I won't be getting him. Well, I guess he might still be around in December, but again, my channel members are going to have to vote that the boycott would be over. I would have to agree to that. So there's two safeguards there. So chances are I'm not getting him from that, but they have been putting these champions eventually into the Titan or the basic. So I think he's a champion that everyone will eventually get. You can see his abilities there. He's going to have crystals December 11th, and then he's going to go to the arena December 18th. I'll be doing that arena so I can fully test him and give you my thoughts when he comes live to like a basic or a Titan or those sorts of things. And of course, so we can score him on the tier list. Moving on to the next one was Lizard, and like, dude, Lizard just looks cool. Okay, like there's this happens sometimes where two champions come out in a month and they are hyped, and one just like they just have that extra. I don't know how else to say this, but this is kind of like reminds me of like Silver Samurai and Mr. Knight. Mr. Knight is one of the coolest looking champions in the game, but standing next to Silver Samurai, like, and so Lizard just looks amazing. I'm really pumped up about it. One of the things I did want to call out with Lizard, because there was a lot going on there, was it seems like they can go buff immune after throwing their own specials. Seemed like a lot of intricate working parts, but what was explained in the gameplay they showed on, it didn't look overly confusing or overly difficult. Like I'm pretty pumped up for Lizard. I'm pumped up for both of them, but I'm pretty pumped up for Lizard because more likely I'll be able to get Lizard sooner, right? Going to a Titan or something like that. Immune to poison, immune to heal block while a buff is active. And then the one thing I thought that was really cool, and they called this out, was if for some reason like your big SB2 just isn't like deleting the champion, you can see it in the final bullet point there. They showed the SB3, and that definitely will be deleting champions. And then for you Battlegrounds players out there, with the new skip SB3 button, if Lizard's good enough for Battlegrounds or tailored towards Battlegrounds to begin with, that could be a really, really nice thing. So I'm pretty hyped for Lizard. You can see the various dates there on when he will be coming out. Let's go ahead and get to the next slide. This is weird. Looks like I missed one, but no, I didn't. Okay, this is fine. Cassie Lang is going to be coming. Now, remember, the Idol champions have had someone replace them in the crystals, the pre-release bundle, the Titan pool, and all that right there. I loved Cassie Lang. This is back. I think in 4 Loki, maybe in SSX at the time, Tier 1 War. I was using her, and it was a hazard shift fight. And she can play so many debuffs that her interactions with Inequity, she was just tanky as hell. You play a really high skill, you can get great, great damage. I really, really enjoyed this champion. I'm very excited for her to come in. We'll test her, we'll do all the things when a new champion who's been 7-star locked comes into the 7-star meta, basically. We always have to kind of like reevaluate them because our nostalgia and our memories of how powerful they are don't always hold up. But then there's champions like Gallon, where I think Gallon's actually better in the 7-star meta than I originally thought he was going to be. Cassie is one I'm pretty hyped on. And as of right now, I would be very excited to pull her from a Titan. So I am very, very excited about this. Let me know. She's a very good champion. She did have some bugs, and that's not a dumb pun. I hope they've cleaned them up. I imagine they have with her going into the Titan. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one here. This is this Ravagers Regal event. This seems like it's basically the Cyber Day weekend sale. Those of you who've been following my channel really well know I have obviously missed my predictions. I thought Yondu and Super Scroll were going to be in the later pool with the Banquet. Obviously, I was wrong, so I will be gifting an extra 50 memberships to my channel members, right? Help them vote for the boycott and that sort of thing. We'll have a lot of fun with that. I actually really want Yondu. Now, this is going to be really interesting here because what they're saying is they're going to give you a choice between Yondu and the other champion here. Let's go ahead and pull up the next slide, which is Super Scroll. And there was a lot of moving parts. I think this is going to be those ones where it probably sounds a little more complicated on a list like this than it's going to be in game. But you're going to log in each day to claim a token. Sounds like you're actually going to log into the game itself. There's 14 tokens, right? You can, of course, buy more. It is a sale for daily deals and cash offers. And then you're going to be able to use those tokens for a solo event, at which point you'll actually be able to choose between Super Scroll and Yondu. They were talking about moving the champions to like earlier in the sales, which was part of the recommendations I had given them a long time ago, as well as other CCP members at that time. Obviously, I'm not in the CCP anymore. They did try that with the Silver Samurai. I hope it worked out well for them. So I like to see this. Mike did go into a bunch of detail. And again, I liked this. I thought this was good about like advising people like, hey, spending your units on this sale or spending your units on the Banquet. That's ultimately going to always be just up to you and what you're looking for and what you're doing. But it seemed like there was an ability to get more guaranteed resources that were meaningful earlier from this. And I have it in my notes, and there's a chance he misspoke, or there's a chance I misunderstood him. Okay, let's see what's going on. Let's give a chance to clarify from all of that. And I'm open to the idea that I just misunderstood. I felt like I heard you're going to be able to choose your between the two of them at around 10,000 units. That is significantly lower than what it's been in the past. I really like that move. And if that's true, and I don't think I'm going to be able to grind that many units in this short of time, but if somehow I am on my Vega Prime account, as of right now, I would be choosing Yondu in a heartbeat. I've tested Super Scroll. I like him. I think he's improved. but I think Yondu has a significantly more chance to make a difference in your questing and in the meta as well. Super Scroll still feels more defensive oriented to me on that one. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. And then this was interesting. They started talking about the champions that are basically coming with the Banquet event, like the Glorious Guardians is still going to be the box situation. Hopefully familiar with that. They're saying it's going to be similar but different. And Jane Foster is getting the buff for this. This will now be her second buff. I have a feeling they're going to knock this one out of the park. Okay, I don't want to get into too many of my reasons why. I have a feeling this one's going to be knocked out of the park. I have a feeling Jane Foster is about to become very, very, very good in Marvel Contest of Champions. Okay, yeah. So we'll leave it at that. You can see this a little bit about her kit there on the screen as we move on to the next slide. And this is what kind of the box situation where it's like you open up the box, you get one of the champions, and you open up again, and you're guaranteed to not get that champion again. Again, I already said that my predictions were clearly incorrect, so I will be gifting more memberships, which is fine. We want to have fun. We'll do it. The other champion that they said is in this box, will be available, is Absorbing Man. I'm going to editorialize more, I think, in a separate video. He's busted. Where he's good, he is absolutely broken, busted. Like, they're bringing him, so he's amazing. Honestly, he's broken, busted in this game, and so I think people are going to be pretty hyped for him. I think you should be. And the other one is Nimrod, and Nimrod's an example of a champion where like they've evolved the game so much. This is where I've talked about how like Kabam power crept their own game way more than they needed to. And I think probably took years off the life of the game or made it more difficult on themselves and design champions, things like that. Nimrod is still very good. I think Nimrod is going to be more helpful to people like in earlier story content because the nodes were still built for a way that Nimrod could come in and dominate. I want to see how he's going to function as a 7-star. There's a chance he goes right back to being a very good dual threat champion in like battlegrounds, usable in nodes and war and all that stuff. However, he's so dominant where there was prowess and mutants that nodes started being created where like if a shock was put on when removing a prowess and all that stuff. So it's really my opinion on how good Nimrod will be in the game is basically going to be based on how good a Kabam allows him to be in the game. If they remove all that stuff or they provide enough spaces, he's probably going to be excellent. He's not going to be as good against some of the newer style mutants, is what I was talking about. But he is a very, very good champion, relatively easy to play. One of the first champions I think kind of discovered. The internet is a massive place. There's a chance other YouTubers had discovered how good he was. But to the best of my knowledge, I was the first YouTuber coming to MCoC to be like, oh my God, this guy is insane. And putting that out there. So I'm kind of hyped for it. It's as someone who likes Bastion and all that. I think this is cool. That pool is shaping up to be pretty bonkers. They then moved into the fest, the Summer's Fest. You know, guys, I try to reserve my critiques for when I think it's warranted, when I want to do it in a semi-playful nature, but point out things to you. So it's really obvious like how transparent they're being. So a lot of this comes down to personal taste. For me, this is when the stream became very self-indulgent, a lot of like forced jokes. This part of the stream felt like it took an hour, where the rest of the stream felt like very quick, really good. It was entertaining. It was informative. I felt respected. Like I wasn't, yeah, it doesn't matter. So just take that for what it is. The reason I'm showing you this is that these are going to be the Twitch drops. So make sure you connect your account to Twitch. I finally did it myself as well, because why not get these? They're going to be live streaming. It sounds like quite a bit of the Summer's Fest event. I'll be doing my best to tune in. I've realized it's over the weekend, so chances are I'm with my family, but we'll see if it's early enough in the day before everyone wakes up and that sort of stuff. I'll definitely be there live reacting to this, or I'll provide synopsis videos or at least some thoughts on it. And then depending on who you are, what you enjoy about the game, this may have been the highlight for you. I know at least, as someone who's played this game forever, who's met Brian, and a big fan of the man. I'm not actually as familiar with his channel because I typically am with my family when he used to stream. But I'm a big fan of the man. I'm a big fan of him. Met him a couple times and got to just truly hang out with him. This was actually funny. This was very funny. If you didn't get to see it, I highly suggest going to the live stream replays, watching it. It's at the end of the stream. It's very humorous. It's incredibly well done. I will say it's not totally clear what it's about. I don't want to go out and say Brian's back. I think that's not clear. I think it might be overreacting to it out of hopefulness. But I think it definitely kind of gives that strong hint, strong vibes. It might just be about the egg. It might be about Venom the Duck, or it could just be literally they had Brian up to the Vancouver offices and they decided to do something really fun because he's playful and funny. I don't know, but either way, I think it was a good feel. You know, they've brought Seaton back, and if they can involve Brian, I think those are very smart moves for Kabam. I'm not trying to correlate those two as saying that they're for the same. I'm realizing how that may have come across. I don't know exactly what this was. Maybe there'll be further information soon. But for what it was, I really enjoyed seeing Brian involved with something, and the whole skit kind of like it felt like him. It was very funny, very playful, very well done. I really enjoyed it. As usual, let me know what you think I got right. Let me know what you think I got wrong. Let me know what stood out to you, what you're excited for, what you're not excited for. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.